Hello everybody, and today we're going to be ranking every single LEGO Star Wars clone trooper ever made. LEGO Clone Troopers were first started in 2002 with the release of the Attack of the Clones movie, and since then we've gotten 67 mainline LEGO Star Wars Clone Troopers. I'm excluding OG Clone Troopers because they don't really measure up against the new design, but if you guys do want to know my ranking for that, I'll go over it quickly. And also, I am excluding the Shadow ARF Trooper, Jack 14 Senate Commandos, and the Yoda Chronicle Clone Troopers because those don't really rank up against all the rest, especially since I'm measuring these on how accurate they are to the real Star Wars version. So yeah, with that being said, the OG clone ranking I have today is White Hip Shock Trooper, Green, like 41st Trooper, 327th Trooper, 327th Trooper with Paul Dritter, the commander, I guess, Plain Phase 2 Trooper, Recon Trooper, Shock Trooper with black hips, Phase 1 Trooper, and the Clone Scout Trooper, I believe that is. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of that. And yeah, so before we get into the actual ranking of every LEGO Star Wars Clone Trooper ever made, make sure to drop a like and subscribe because this video took me so long to get out. And yeah, so coming in at number 67, we have the the LEGO Star Wars 2009 Swamp Speeder Clone Trooper is the only thing I could really call this thing. It's a really weird clone because the reason it's in dead last is LEGO kind of went for like a weird nostalgia fusion thing where they used the old helmet, open visor helmet style, which is really odd, and combined it with a new torso print, which kind of just looks ugly and somehow worse than the old one. And this is just really weird because this is after we got the new Phase 1 clones without the open visor in 2008. So this was kind of a step back for LEGO, and it did not work at all. And it came within a decent cent, I will say that. But other than that, this clone trooper comes in dead last. And at number 66, sorry, kind of expecting it to be this low, a lot of you guys, the Clone Trooper Commander from 2021. Not a good clone. Very controversial one, not accurate, obviously, with the kind of movie-style helmet and the Clone Wars-style torso. I'm really not a big fan of the mix of that, and you will see its counterpart, or its, like, companion here in the Phase 1 Trooper coming up shortly. But yeah, at number 55, 54, 53, we have old Clone Troopers, Gregor, Rex, and Wolf in that order. So, again, it is what it is. Or I keep saying 53. Sorry, guys. That is actually, so this was 60. The OG Clone Troopers 67. The yellow Clone Troopers 66. 65 is Gregor. 64 is Rex. And 3, sorry, is Wolf. So yeah, these guys are cool, but they don't really measure up against any of the other clones because obviously they're old and they have some cool printing. I think Gregor is probably the last one because he doesn't actually have any clone trooper armor. Rex is next because I think he has some pretty cool printing and he could really be replaced with Wolf, but that's just my personal opinion. And yeah, so I don't really have a lot to say about these guys. I don't really want to spend too much time on them because they aren't really real LEGO Clone Trooper minifigures. Like, they're still super cool and stuff, but it's not really the same. So number 52, we have the Phase 1 Clone Trooper from 2022. Again, not an accurate torso for the movie style of Attack of the Clones, but I think this is just the way LEGO is going with all their clones now, which is a bit disappointing to see, but hopefully the Phase 2 Troopers continue being great, as I think they have been. And yeah, so next up, another yellow Clone Trooper, the yellow Clone Trooper Commander. I have all of these, like, old, like, 2013 era Phase 1 clones up next. We have the yellow Clone Trooper, the green Sergeant, the blue Lieutenant with no leg printing, the red, I think that's the Captain, and then the normal Phase 1 version. All of those are number 60, I believe, 61 through 61, 60 is the green Sergeant, 59 is the blue Lieutenant, and I believe 58 is the Captain, and then 57 is just a plain Phase 1 guy. And then, yeah, so these aren't, like, amazing. They're just good clones. Like, this is what we should expect of LEGO. Obviously, the big part, like, lacking from them is leg printing. However, you will see I do like the Clone Wars versions of all these characters way more than the movie-style version, because I actually have the Clone Wars version of the Phase 1 clones bumped up a couple tiers. I'm doing this off a tier list. All the clones so far, besides OG and the ones I didn't rank, have been in the tier, kind of the meh tier, like, not that good. But yeah, so we have a couple more clones. It's coming in at number 57, I believe, is the 212th Trooper from this year. Holes in the helmet really mess up this figure, and it's just not the best figure, I think, with the holes in the helmet. Obviously, the scuffed up fin printing, if that's what you want to call it, the head printing, as well as the battle damage does look alright, I guess, but I think it might have been cooler to get just normal kind of shiny clones, but I think that doesn't really affect its ranking. It's holes in the helmet and the helmet print. But overall, actually really great to get three of these troopers in the next set, and hopefully if we see these in 2023, which I'm pretty sure we will, they will have the fixed printing, and maybe I'll have to do an updated version of this list. Next up, we actually have another 212th clone trooper. I actually kind of gave it away. It is the yellow 212th trooper. A lot of yellow clones in this list. Or in this bottom tier, we got both commanders, 212th troopers. That's not amazing. But yeah, this trooper, a lot of people don't like. I actually personally love it. I just kind of put it here because I feel like that's appropriate, because even though I like it, most people aren't that happy about this clone trooper and its colors. I have like a ton of these guys, but I do think it would have been amazing if they were in orange, but I think this color actually works for the arc they were in. But I do think they're going to have to go in this bottom tier, which is really surprising because all of the other Phase 2 Clone Wars style clones are actually way higher on the list. Next up, we have two Bad Batch clones, which really are not the best. We have Wrecker, who I personally don't think is... my opinions have really changed on these Bad Batch clones, because I used to think that all of them were just horrible. And to an extent, I still kind of do, because this is like the D tier right now. And the next tier, C tier, is all the other ones. So yeah, Wrecker's in last place out of all the Bad Batch ones. I think the reused Iron Man helmet's kind of lame, but I think him and the next clone on this list, which is actually Tech, I'll just go over them both at once, really can get alternated. I think Wrecker just shouldn't have reused the helmet molds. I do think the big, the armor piece kind of works well for him. But Tech, I do like that they went out with a new mold, but the color should have been white, and the helmet is way too big. But yeah, I guess alright figures. Next up, we have the two Geonosis clone troopers. This is actually in the C tier now. These are not canon, but I think they're still cool. I think this would be like the good place to kind of put them in, and I probably shouldn't have included them in this list, because honestly they don't really... I can't really measure them up against anything canonically, but yeah, I think these are just alright. I think the chic ones we saw later are a lot better. So yeah, we got the Phase 2 Geonosis and the Airborne Geonosis both right here. And then the next two Bad Batch members I have is Hunter and then Echo. I used to really hate Echo, but I think that he definitely has the most going on out of the Bad Batch members. Like, at least he has like some really unique printing and like on this helmet and his waist cape. I do think at the time why I didn't like him is he was like lacking of a lot of things. Like, I think a physical waist cape would have been better than a printed one, as well as a new mold of helmet to really be able to tell him apart from Hunter, because I think that's kind of weird that they have the exact same stuff even though they're supposed to look radically different in the show. Hunter, I think the normal helmet mold works, but he is behind Echo, so I guess Echo's the best Bad Batch member. Obviously, we haven't seen Crosshair on this list yet. He'll be up in a little bit, not too far above these guys, though. So, yeah, these two are some decent clones, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of them both, but they're alright. I think that definitely with their headpieces, they look way better than with their helmets. That might be a hot take, especially since Lego did a decent job on the torso printing, but the helmets is kind of where all these figures fall flat for me. But, yeah. Next up, might be some controversial picks for the next three, maybe even four. But we have the 501st Jetpack Trooper. This one has some inaccurate leg printing. It should have had some dark blue legs at the bottom, kind of. I'll have a screen up here, a picture on the screen up here right now. I think it's alright. I think, obviously, I bought a lot of them. It's an army builder. I don't really have... I can't complain about it too much, because obviously I bought a lot of them, but... I do think it leaves a little bit to be desired. I'm really glad that he didn't include blue arms for this. I don't understand why he didn't do that with the other 501st Clone Trooper, but whatever. Next up, 332nd Trooper. That's the basic 501st Trooper body, but I think the helmet is kind of iffy. I'm not a really big fan of how they did. I'm not a big fan of the color of printing they did. I think it definitely should have been a darker orange. And also, I do think that the kind of Ahsoka marking should have wrapped around the helmet a bit more. And then next up, we have the 501st Clone Trooper. It is. I think it's the best out of these three because it has the least wrong with it. I think that I'm just not really a huge fan of the fusion of the two new styles, or the two styles to make this new style. Obviously, like I'm referring to movie and Clone Wars. It kind of got mashed together here. Not a huge fan of that, but I'm kind of accepted it as we go on. And lastly, in the C tier, we have Wrecker, or not Wrecker. That's Crosshair. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Crosshair. He is alright, I guess. I think he has some cool, like, I think it's cool to see, like, clone troopers printed on black, and I really like the green visor. I don't really think there's too much wrong with this figure. Obviously, a custom mold would have been cool, but I've kind of come to, like, accept that LEGO's never going to do that with like, they're not going to put that much detail into clones, especially when they could just, like, go with the old helmet molds. Some would call it cheaping out, but I think it's just whatever now. Yeah, so next up in the B tier, pretty good clones here, and might be controversial to see these guys all the way up here on the list, but the normal Phase 1 Clone Wars Trooper. I have so much nostalgia for these guys. I just think they're super cool. They don't even have, like, leg printing or anything, but I put them up against, like, so many clones that might be, like, objectively considered better. But yeah, this guy, and also next I have the Jetpack, like, Clone Trooper, but I kind of think they're the same, but they're, like, right next to each other. I think just, why not add a jetpack onto one, adds a bit of cool detail, makes it slightly better than the last one. So yeah, and then next up we have the Clone Pilot and the Clone Gunner. I only put the Gunner above the Pilot because he has, like, gray arms, I guess, and that adds a bit of detail, but they're both really technically, like, the same to me in a way. And the best one out of all these Phase 1 clones kind of is the Gunner, or not the Gunner, that's the ARF Trooper. Again, sorry guys. Yeah, the ARF Trooper, I think he's super cool, and probably the best one out of these Phase 1 ones, and yeah. So after the ARF Trooper, we have the Bomb Squad Trooper, who is also Phase 1, but I don't know, he's orange, so he's different, I guess. I think he has some really cool printing, and super cool to see an all-orange LEGO Clone Trooper. That's never really been done, and like, all like, colored clone trooper, besides like the Senate Commanders and the Yoda Chronicles trooper. I think this is like super cool to see, and I don't know, it's just a neat trooper. I think that we never get to see nowadays, but I'm really happy with what we're getting nowadays. That you will see that later on the list. Anyway, we have the advanced ARF trooper, like the one with maroon markings, kind of next up on the list. I think he's pretty cool. Obviously, he has a bit more detail than the normal ARF Trooper, so that's why he's here. And then next up after him, we have the Phase 1 pilot from Attack of the Clones with that leg printing, which really adds a lot. Obviously, I think this one could be much higher up, but he's just really lacking that new helmet mold. And after him is somebody who doesn't have leg printing, but has a new helmet mold that really carries him all the way. It is the 501st pilot from the Headhunter set. Some could call him Hawk, I guess, but I'm just going to be calling him the 501st pilot. Next up after him, we have the Kashyyyk clone trooper from Battlefront 2, who is technically canon, I guess. A lot of people did not think he was canon when he first came out, but that's kind of how it goes now, I guess. He's canon. And pretty cool trooper, really like the camo markings, and I used to actually prefer this one over the, what's it called? The Scout Trooper version of this guy, who is actually way farther up on the list, but now I realize that this guy's probably worse because he doesn't have that cool helmet mold or something, like, as unique printing, which I'll talk about later. The 212 Trooper from the Battle Pack is next up. I think he is super cool and definitely the best 212 Trooper we've gotten. And you know what? I'm looking at this ranking now, and I'm going to switch some things around. The Airborne Trooper, which I actually had 2 spots up, is going to be moved down behind him, even though he's super cool. I think the 212 Trooper is just so perfect, pretty much. I think just the old realistic style, movie style, whatever you want to call it, leg printing is a bit flawed, which is, I guess, why I have some of these down here. But, yeah, they're still really good. And, yeah, anyway, the purple clones are next in this order. The Airborne Trooper, the normal trooper, or I guess it's the commander and then the normal trooper. I think just LEGO should really go back to using cloths on LEGO clones. I don't really appreciate the printed on parts. It just doesn't look as good. I think it's really weird that they decided to use a cloth on the Airborne Trooper, and then they made another Airborne Trooper 2 years later and they didn't use the cloth. I don't understand that logic. I'm referring to the 212th Airborne Trooper from the General Group of Starfighter, which we'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, purple clone. He's better just because he doesn't have that issue, or like the purple clone trooper non-commander version. Better because he doesn't have that issue. Yeah, and then next we have the Phase 1 Attack of the Clones trooper. I guess this is like the 2016 version or whatever. I'm not 100% sure, actually. I'm kind of blanking on when he was released. Yeah, he's from the Jedi and Clone Troopers Battle Pack. I think this is a really cool Clone Trooper, and I think the lag printing, it really is like, it adds a lot, even if it's not the greatest. And above him, the last Clone Trooper in the B tier category is the Lieutenant, who also had that leg printing, but like that really cool, like light blue printing, which you've never seen before, other than this, Clone Trooper wise, besides obviously the other Lieutenant. But yeah, in the A tier, the greatest clone, or the great clones, not the greatest, because we obviously still have the S tier. Last in the A tier is Captain Rex from 2008, the ATT. He's a really cool clone. I really love this guy. He has a super cool face print, obviously, and really nice attachments, and he's just so nostalgic. I do think that a lot of or pretty much all the other Phase 1 commanders are better than him because he doesn't have that cool torso printing. Obviously, there's not really much you could print on there, but I think the other ones just have cooler details, but I think that really is because of the source material. Next up on the list is Cody. Obviously has the more unique torso print, which definitely edges him out over Rex. Next up after him is Commander Fox, who has even more cooler torso prints than Cody, and he even has like the rangefinder, which is super cool. Obviously Cody has like the visor, but I think the rangefinder is cool. I was always a rangefinder guy. Are you guys visor guys or rangefinder guys? Let me know. And after him, we have the 212th Airborne Trooper from 2020. I think definitely my favorite clone from 2020, accuracy-wise, obviously. I only own one of these guys, but the Fire First Trooper just had a way bigger impact, I guess. So I guess this guy's kind of undershadowed for 2020 Clone Troopers. After that, we have the Clone Trooper Commander from 2008, who was just like a green Corps Trooper. I don't remember what they're called, but Eth Koth's Legion. Really cool printing on the torso, and he has lag printing, which is super cool and really accurate, I think. And then next up, we have the two Wolfpack Clone Troopers from Phase 1. We have, first of all, the Jetpack Wolfpack Trooper. Really cool clone. We got, like, blue legs, which looks super cool, I think, and light blue printing, even though I don't really like that printing for the Wolfpack Troopers. I do prefer dark gray, but that's not really a Lego issue. That's like a what's it called? That's a Star Wars issue, not Lego. So yeah, I think this is like accurate for season 1, 2, and like Phase 1 Clone Troopers. The light blue printing is accurate for the Wolfpack Troopers. Sorry guys, voice getting a bit tired. And then yeah, obviously after that we have Wolf, really cool face print, which makes him I think a bit cooler than the Phase 1 Wolfpack Clone Trooper. And then we have Commander Gree. This one's super nostalgic because I remember building the Brick Master for this guy. I had like a couple of those from the book fairs. I thought this was like such a cool figure. I still think it's a really good figure. Obviously, it's the best and highest ranked Phase 1 Clone Trooper on this list. So yeah, I guess that's that. But yeah, really cool strap and green printing. I really like this figure. I think he's super cool. And yeah, so that's the last Phase 1 figure. Now it's only Phase 2 left, and we are in the top 11. So yeah, number 11, I guess honorable mention to the top 10. Clone Trooper Gunner from 2017 Republic Fighter Tank. Super cool figure. I think really nice printing. It really could get swapped around with this next figure, but I think the next figure is just way more desired. I am referring to the Phase 2 Clone Trooper from 2014. We really need another one of this guy. It's a ticking time bomb. We're going to get a set next year with Rex and one of these guys in it, and a Fire Force Trooper probably. It's going to be sick. Trust me, it's going to happen. That's just speculation, by the way. Don't take my word on that. But yeah, number 9, Commander Neo, or I guess it's just the 91st Reconnaissance Corps Trooper. Really cool printing, really nice, like unique, one maroon arm, one white arm. I really like that. And then he has some really cool Reconnaissance Corps markings and really cool helmet print. And if he had a custom mold for his helmet, which obviously, like, it's really expensive to do that, and I don't really think it's all that necessary, but he would definitely be in the top 5. I think he's super cool. And it's not something Lego need to do, but it's something that if they did do, which is, like, unrealistic and stuff, I know, but if they did do, he'd definitely be in the top 5, because it's just such a random commander that if they put like a lot of effort in, that show like how much they cared. Obviously they still care. You guys, like, a lot of people hate on Lego nowadays, but dude, guys, look how much cool Clone Troopers we've gotten in the past like while. Anyway, I ranked them pretty low, so I probably shouldn't really say that in this video, but yeah, anyway, breaking into number 8, the Scout Trooper from Kashyyyk. Really, really cool trooper. Super unique printing. Really like the brown legs. And a really nice helmet mold. Super cool. Really like the green eyes and stuff. That's super nice. And I don't really have anything bad to say about this guy. Maybe he could have gotten our printing to get with the camo, but I don't really know. Alright, breaking into clone troopers where I can't really say anything bad anymore. This is the S tier. We are officially in S tier category. There is 7 clones in this tier. Number at last in the S tier category, the Wolfpack Clone Trooper Phase 2. Perfect trooper, not really any comments. Very nice. Came in the 2014 Republic AV7 cannon set. I think he's super cool. And it really would have been cool if we got Wolf in this set. Wolf was supposed to come in this set. Bet you guys did not know that. So yeah, that's just super cool. But we could have gone Phase 2 Wolf, which would have been so epic. But we didn't. Next up, the Shock Trooper. I think he just has some slightly cooler markings than this guy, the Wolfpack Trooper, obviously. So yeah, I think the Shock Trooper has slightly better markings than the Wolfpack Trooper. Yeah, number 6 spot. The top 5. Number 5 goes to the 501st Clone Trooper. This Clone Trooper is so perfect in my opinion. It could be number 1. Because honestly, it has the least amount of flaws out of the top 5. The other 4 are just such cool clones. I can't really say anything. But yeah, he's at number 5. If I really had my way, he'd probably be at number 1, maybe. I don't know. But I think he's really cool. He has no flaws. I just think he's such a neat clone trooper. And dude, if you guys remember, before 501st Battle Pack era, it was insane trying to get this guy. Everybody wanted to build an army of him, but it was just so unlikely. Like, you'd be paying $27 per clone. I managed to get like a bunch of these after the 501st Battle Pack came out because they're for like a decent price. But I don't even know if that was all worth it, but I think it would have been really cool. I still prefer these, like, obviously way more than the new ones. Way more accurate. I think cooler, like, the only thing that this one doesn't have is leg print, or toe print, sorry. Has the more accurate leg print, objectively. The new ones do, sorry. But yeah, anyway, I've talked about this guy way too much, so that was probably like a minute of the video spent up. Number 4, surprisingly, to some people probably this low, Phase 2 Cody. Now, one thing I will say, and I want to get this out of the way really quickly because, like, nobody's talking about this. The helmet holes on the Phase 2 Cody figure are accurate. Now, on the 212th Trooper, yeah, that's a disaster. But on Phase 2 Cody, the visor actually goes over the hole, like the kind of bump, the circle bumps in his helmet. So it's really cool to see LEGO actually take this level of detail in a figure that they knew fans wanted for like a while. However, I do think it might have made more sense to make his helmet one molded with like or I guess dual molded, or like just make a cool helmet mold with a visor or something, or design a new visor that's shorter. I am glad that they didn't like just put the holes in the circles because that would not have been ideal, even though it would have made sense kind of for the long term for more clones. But unfortunately, in the new pick of Captain Rex and LEGO, we did see it is not great looking. I've had that on the screen now. It's from the Skywalker saga, and it has the new helmet holes, which really is looking like we might get a figure of him in 2023. I will be surprised if we don't. Number 3, maybe surprising, a really underrated like clone right here. Number 3 is Commander Greed. I regret saying that. I'm sorry, guys. That was really cringy. But really cool clone trooper. We have the metallic helmet, which is a super cool like thing. Super detailed in the torso and the legs. I think whenever LEGO does like different colored like body parts for clone troopers or like LEGO parts, it always works out well because they're taking like that little level of detail into like clone. For example, like this one has black legs and like a metal helmet, and that just like looks so good. And like if you look at a Wolf with his blue legs, or like I don't know, but or the Bomb Squad Trooper or something, I don't know. But I think this one's super cool. It's number 3, and it's just such a cool detailed clone. I do think the legs are kind of lackluster. Like the black legs, it's kind of like really cool detail on the front, and then everywhere else is kind of iffy. But I guess it's alright. It's still a really, really good clone. Like, if every clone had this level of work put into it, it would be great. Also, one thing I miss about Phase 2 Cody is the jetpack is printed on and not like an actual piece, which isn't ideal, but I think would still be cool if we got. I don't know. It doesn't really change his ranking, but yeah. Anyway, number 2, the ARC Trooper. Such a good figure. It is technically the highest Phase 1 clone trooper, but I'm not really counting it as Phase 1. It's Phase 1.5. So yeah. This is such a cool clone. It has the actual proper helmet holes for the rangefinder. It has a unique helmet mold. It has some really cool printing. And dude, if this was like a Fives figure, that would be so cool. But It came in such a cheap set as well, and that's actually great. It has some really cool like cloths and stuff, some really sick printing. I really like this set. Again, the different color leg always work. Like, look, he has the maroon legs. Turned out great for this figure, and it's just such a cool figure. I think maybe maroon arms would have looked cool. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's really either way works and doesn't affect his ranking because nothing can beat the #1 spot. That is the GOAT, Captain Rex. That's right, the #1 spot goes to Captain Rex. He is ultimately the greatest clone trooper we have ever seen. Super cool. Okay, now this one, okay, I was about to say super cool helmet, but there's a lot of problems in this figure. Okay, if I was, whoa, voice crack. Okay, if I was being objective, and this is the original ranking I had ARC Trooper at #1, I think I had the Fire First Trooper at #2, Gree at #3, Rex at #4, and Cody at #5, except Rex and Cody could switch. But dude, these clones, like, if I was going by height, I think Cody would make more sense to have at Phase 2. I do think there's been, like, kind of a lot of drama around him, but there was so much hype surrounding him and so much weight for him. I maybe would have put him at #2. This top 5 could really be switched around in any order you want, and it would work, I think, in my opinion. But Rex, dude, such a cool clone. There's a reason he's so expensive. He's the best clone in LEGO. I mean, he's the best clone in Star Wars, I meant. I'm like, objectively. He has, like, the best screen time, best stories, best arc, best everything. Obviously, actually, I'd say my favorite is Fives, but he is most people's favorite for a reason. Rex is so cool to get in LEGO. He has such a cool torso print. We have the really cool cloth. I really like that blue, like, colored cloth with, like, the blue and black. I think that's super cool. Legs, super cool. The tally marks. I think this figure just really is kind of flawed with the helmet. The helmet's just the only not great part. If it had the helmet hole, that's all it would need to be a perfect figure. I think the definite, like, even though they're not #1, the perfect figures on this list are probably the ARC Trooper, Fire First Trooper, the Shock Trooper, and the Wolfpack Trooper. I really don't have anything bad to say about them, and I don't really think there's any way they could have been improved. But that is my list. Let me know what you guys think. I tried to be as uncontroversial as possible. I think the only things that the top tier, the top 2 tiers are really, like, those are the right those are the right answers. There's no right answers in opinion, but those are the right answers. I think for sure the best the 212th Trooper from the battle pack definitely could have been more higher up. I could see an argument for that. I think a lot of the Phase 1 clone troopers could have been more lower down. I could definitely see an argument for that. I think a lot of people, especially like a lot of new gen collectors, are going to argue for the new 501st troopers to be more higher up, but I think this is the right spot for them, obviously in the C tier. Or right now, I have them, why did I say it like that? I said right. But right now, I have, like, all the tiers, like, not as SD. Like, on my screen, I don't have it like S, A, B, C, D. I have it God tier, great, pretty good, decent, and eh. So all these clones, like, there's only a handful of them that are actually considered, like, not good, and that's obviously the eh tier, starting from the last place going up to tech. Everything else is actually, like, pretty good. I think that definitely we need more of like, LEGO can be great when it wants to be. Like, look at all the clones in the great and God tier. Hopefully, we see more stuff like that. I'm really excited for the future of LEGO clones and what this holds. And here's to 20 years of LEGO clones. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did, and I'm out of here. Bye.